give him a real meaty role to act in. Um, it's one of it's my favorite Will Smith performance, as I've said, and the reason why I wanted to talk about Will Smith is because I feel like he is um, uh, beyond the recent Oscar controversy. I feel like there's a death of a movie star happening in movies right now. Smith is the last big A-list movie star. You could argue people like Charlize Theron or The Rock kind of taking his place, but I think The Rock star is starting to wane since his movies are going to streaming services. And if you look at his box office receipts, whenever it's just him alone, the movies underperform. Charlize Theron is holding her own, but her films aren't as big hits. And it's really, and Tom Cruise, if he's not in a Mission Impossible movie, those movies really, really underperform well. So it's mostly all on Will Smith's shoulders. And I think we don't really appreciate his gifts that he's brought to the cinema and stuff. Uh, Before I hijack your podcast for publicity, what do you think of the movie and of Will Smith in it? Like, is this up there with one of your favorite performances of him, or?
Yeah, I can't really think of, besides, of course, King Richard now.
Yes.
I feel like his performance in King Richard is phenomenal, and it's proof
Agreed.
that with the right direction and the people backing him, he can do real work instead of just being as you say, doing the movie star shtick, and so.
Mhm.
Pushing aside King Richard, I Am Legend, I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's probably the most genuine of him, like really reaching in deep inside and trying to give us an honest, kind of somber performance. And I think that he absolutely kills this. I completely agree with you that the film itself is hinged off of his performance pretty much alone. As much as I love the dog, and the dog is very important to
Yes.
to his role and his success, Will is just super phenomenal in this. And watching it again for the show, I was like super I couldn't turn away. And it's so like they've stripped all the meat away. It's not overly long. It moves.
No, it's really short. I was surprised by how short the movie is.
Yeah, especially with such a kind of high concept that they're doing.
Yeah.
They really pulled that off with the bare bones kind of structure, but it totally works.
Yes.
I just wanted to throw out the only real negative that I have is that for a like maybe I'm wrong, but maybe like the first hour, you just know that there are monsters or something around that they're scared of, but they don't show you. So it takes like the Jaws approach, and then when they do show you the beings or the humans that have transformed, the CGI is a little distracting. It doesn't.
It's bad.
Yeah,
It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
I think it was deemed as being bad then, and it has only gotten worse. In the 15 years since. Yes. So I totally as to your point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only, I think, thing that takes it away from being a perfect film. In doing my reading for the show, I did see that they initially were going to do how do you say, the practical effects and have people in suits, and I guess they didn't like how it was translating, and they didn't think that they were moving fast enough, and that it wasn't scary. And I can see why they would go in and do the kind of mocap stuff and CGI so that they could be move faster and be more, I guess, what's the word I'm trying to say, like I guess scary or intimidating for Robert's character. But for me, I think the CGI makes them look a little like, having them be all CGI looks too they're not as scary as they should have been. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
But the acting specifically, like when the monsters released the dogs on Robert and Sam, and they're outside and the sun's going down. That's a very tense scene, and it works despite the CGI, but it's because of Sam, the dog's performance and fucking and Robert or Will Smith's character performance. They just sell the shit out of it, where you can totally look past the CGI, and not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people.
I think the first 30 minutes of this movie is so good. The movie opens with a really cool cameo from I forget her name, but the actress that plays the doctor that basically explains the cure, and from there, it's this really cool opening because she's explaining what she's done with the cure for cancer, and she views cancer as a car driven. A car, and the body is your highway, and you place the bad man that's driving the car with a good man, and that's basically how she views the cure. And then it cuts to New York, is just abandoned. It's a ghost town, and it drives, and it cuts to Will Smith driving in a car, and the movie is there's a thing in filmmaking when the camera looks up at someone, they admire them. When the camera looks down on someone, they are condemning them. And the movie basically shows you right then and there what the film is all about, which is Will Smith driving in a car, basically by himself in the most populated city in America. And it's an interesting thing to use New York as the crux of the movie, because New York is sort of seen as the pinnacle of the American cities and stuff. It's like considered the greatest city, in our country, and to have it be the focal point of the movie is interesting. And from there, you get his daily routine with his dog and how they interact. The scene with them eating spaghetti or whatever it is really cool. And instantly you get the relationship with him and the dog. I feel like in a lesser actor, you would either need more scenes or it just wouldn't feel as convincing. When we see him and the dog, and you get the sense that they've been doing this for a while and that there's genuine love between the two of them. And then when he goes out and searches for the deer, and there's that entire tense moment where he's trying to find Sam in the haunted warehouse. That's a really tense scene, and you could tell how conflicted he is because on the one hand, if he stays any longer, he might die. But on the other hand, this dog is the only thing he has left that's connecting him not only to humanity but to his family. So there's a real drive to go and get the dog. That's one of his best performances in the movie. It's just that 5-minute section, and this is what I get at when I think we sort of undervalue Will Smith as an actor, because I think we have spent so long used to him being the Fresh Prince thing that we sort of negate his acting chops. And I compare him a lot to Harrison Ford, who I think was the last great movie star of his decade, and they're both similar in that they have kind of been pigeonholed by mainstream pop culture as being their most sort of iconic roles. With Harrison Ford, it's Han Solo. and with Will Smith, it's probably his character in Men in Black, and those are sort of the prototype characters for who they play. But Harrison Ford is a really great actor. He can do stuff like Witness, and stuff like Presumed Innocent, and then he can also do stuff like Air Force One. And Will Smith can do stuff like 6 Weeks of Separation, Ali, and he can also do movies like Focus, which is just all his charisma just pouring out on the screen, and it's engulfing, and um, it's addicting. And in here, he's doing something totally different. He is, just as you say, he's entirely stripped down. He's traded in his charisma for frustration and fear and anger, and you feel it. The scene where he has to watch his family go off in the helicopter, there's like little emotion on that scene, and this is something that he got at in his Oscar speech. I guess we can sort of dip into a bit in that. In a lot of these Oscar movies that he does, there's a very recurring focal point of family. In King Richard, he's a father who's trying to protect his daughters. In his Oscar speech, he said that he is a protector of his cast, his family, and that's sort of driving him in these last few movies, and he strikes me as a very much family man, and he deeply cares about the people that he works with and the people that are with him. And I think that's what's driving him through this movie performance, is how that lack of family sort of breaks him and turns him angry. I think it's where a lot of this is coming. Is there any scenes that you think are highlight his performance?
Going back to what I set up, when Sam is attacked by one of the mutant dogs, and he makes it clear that he's immune. If he gets scratched or bitten, he won't be affected. But Sam, the dog, can still change, and so that starts. He freaks out and goes back to his lab to try to use this experimental cure on her to try to reverse what's coming, and I think he ends up being too late, and Sam kind of starts changing in his arms, and he has to
I don't think Tom Cruise could do that, that scene. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he could buy it.
I don't know if well, maybe not Tom Cruise now, but Magnolia Tom Cruise, maybe Magnolia to Collateral Tom Cruise, maybe, but I don't know. There's something very intense and kind of manic and kind of crazy about Tom Cruise, and I just don't think I could see him pulling that off. But maybe he could, or it's telling that Will Smith talked about Castaway as being a big inspiration, because oftentimes the best gauge for an actor is if you just leave them up on the screen, can they hold the attention of an audience for however long the movie is. And with Castaway, that proved that Tom Hanks can hold the audience hostage and keep them engaged, keep them captivated. And I think this is a similar case for Will Smith. I mean, the reviews of this particularly highlight his performance and say that he's incredible. There's been, and I think recently people have given him props for this film. I think is a showcase for him as an actor. Great talent. Yeah, I completely agree, man. Shooting the question back to you, do you have something, a scene or something from this that really popped out to you, or that resonated with you?
Upon rewatch, the scene that got me was the scene where the mother and son enter the picture, and the morning after they rescue him, that entire section, like that 10 minutes where he's basically explaining to them what happened, and she's trying to be optimistic and rational and spiritual about it, and he's